John 19:26 through 27. When Jesus saw his mother there, and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Dear woman, here is your son," and to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that time on, the disciple took her into his home. My name is Caleb Gingrich, and I struggle with depression and anxiety. I believe that there is often correlation between what I am feeling and how I see people acting. My depression started in middle school, which is about the same time in my life that I started to pay attention to events occurring around me and to other people's circumstances other than my own. In middle school, I started to observe bullying. I wasn't getting bullied because I was a quote-unquote normal kid. I would often get angry at what I saw, then anger would turn to sadness, and the sadness would result in me missing school. But it was 8th grade, and I had only a year left, and I would go off to high school at IMS, and everything would be better. When I started high school, everything was good at first, but then my depression started kicking in again, and I slowly started to realize how unjust the world truly is. It was around my sophomore year that I realized that I didn't believe in God. I had had many thoughtful conversations with my peers, both believers and non-believers, and I was comfortable with my thought process and where I ended up. To be quite honest, I was comfortable, almost happy to not call myself a Christian. I had started to read and learn of how some Christians committed hate crimes and defend evildoing in the name of Jesus. For a while, whenever I heard someone call themselves a Christian, I would cringe. Then my junior year happened. To keep things brief, all you need to know is that I missed nearly 90 days of school due to depressional episodes. I would spend roughly 14 hours a day in bed, either sleeping or filling my time by doing valueless tasks. I had no appetite, and if I was feeling low on energy, I would drink chocolate milk. I basically lived off of chocolate milk. I only passed my classes due to the sheer generosity of my teachers who were willing to work with me and my circumstances. Then summer vacation came along, and I wasn't so stressed anymore. My siblings were home from college, and all was well. I was in a consistent, healthy state of mind. I was worried about going to school again because it seemed definite that school was linked to my anxiety. Once school started, though, I was doing well for the most part. I was enrolled in 2 classes that would change my view on Christianity and Christians. I was taking AP English and Christianity in the World Arena. Now, you might be thinking, what does AP English have to do with Jesus? It doesn't have a lot, really, but at the beginning of the year, we started by analyzing the book of Genesis, and then later the Sermon on the Mount. I can't thank Brian Neuschwander, the teacher of that class, enough. He showed me the teachings of Jesus and claimed that Jesus knew something about life, which I think is a fair statement. The second class, Christianity in the World Arena, is taught by Lee Emerson. And although this class wasn't as intimate as the other, as it is bigger, I gained a better insight into the life of a Christian just by asking Lee questions. Lee always answers our questions honestly and to the best of his ability, and I thank him for that. One day in class, I asked him if it was possible to be a follower of Jesus but not believe in God. He replied by saying that one has to judge that for themselves. I don't believe in God, but I do believe in Jesus' teachings, and I am comfortable with that. I still am missing school due to depression, but it's nowhere near as close to the amount as last year. Back in October, I asked my dad and Lee, who is also the chapel coordinator at IMS, if I could maybe speak in chapel here and share about what had happened to me the past year. So Mark Miller, another teacher at IMS, and myself gave a chapel talking about our experiences dealing with mental illness. It went well, and I don't think I will forget what happened afterwards for a long time. Everyone was dismissed, but I saw 4 of my friends walking up to me. They told me I did a good job, and then we all stood in a circle, hugging each other and crying. It wasn't like we were bawling, we were just shedding a few tears. But in that moment, I felt so good. I felt accepted. They weren't the only ones either. Many people around the community supported me for speaking. People watched my speech online and texted me, telling me they were proud of me. When I read John 19:26 through 27, I think of acceptance. I think of how Jesus tells his mother, "Hey Mom, this guy's my friend. Treat him as if he was your own son." And then he turns to John and says, "Hey, treat my mother as if she was yours." Then I imagine that John and Mary just looked at each other, looked back at Jesus, shrugged, and were like, "Yeah, okay, dude, whatever." But I want you to think about how weird that is. Jesus tells them to love and care for each other like a mother and son do, and they agreed to. Then John invites Mary to live with him, and she does. Mary and John accepted each other. They loved one another. All it took was a few words uttered from Jesus. I long for Jesus' words to be visible in our world. There are times when I see people rejected and treated poorly for no good reasons. Whether it be in our government, where congresspeople get death threats because of their religious practices, or in our schools, where students are harassed for being different. It obviously doesn't feel good to not be accepted, and there is enough of that going on in the world, so I hope this community continues to strive to be better, to be accepting, to be kind, and to not judge others. It hurts the most when those who claim to follow Jesus practice exclusion rather than acceptance. We aren't perfect, nor will we ever be, but I hope for Jesus' kind of unconditional love and acceptance to be lived out. Romans 15:7. Therefore, welcome one another as Christ has welcomed you, for the glory of God.